All right, here we go. 2 of 24 leadership principles. Tim Schmidt here. We are working toward unleashing the elite leader within you for the 90-day challenge. A couple housekeeping things before we get started. Number one, I hope you are grabbing a journal or like a Padfolio or something like this. Since we're going to be together 24 times, for you to be able to use something like that or a journal to put your notes to capture what we're talking about in like 10 to 12 minutes. I hope I can do it in 5, but man, there's a lot of good stuff. And so think about using a journal like that so that we can journal on it after the is over with during your quiet time, and then you've got it all together in one place. Did you open the shed? If you think about it, our last video, we talked about all of these tools and all of these things passed down from our parents are in the shed. And I need to uncover my uniqueness, my superpower, and open the shed and use those things. And the Enneagram can begin to help you do that. All right, let's dig in to the number 2 leadership principle out of 24. One of my good friends, Ed Deutschlander, and I have been in a study group for over 15 years. And he always likes to say, when your values are clear, decisions are easy. When your values are clear, decisions are easy. When they're unclear, it's not so easy. So my wife and I were flying to Love Field in Dallas many years ago on Southwest Airlines. And we landed early, and the captain came over the intercom and said, "We are early. It's going to be a bit of a delay. There's another plane in our gate. We just thank you for your patience." Well, it wasn't but 2 minutes, and a flight attendant stood up on the intercom and said, "Ladies and gentlemen, I have a bottle of wine for whoever has the most expired driver's license." People are looking around going, what is going on here? Bing, 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 bing. The call buttons up and down the aisle, and people are pulling out their driver's license, and they announced Julie Anderson 2011. And people roared. We're high-fiving people we didn't know. I said, what is going on here? 20 minutes had passed. She stood up again for the second time and said, "Ladies and gentlemen, I have a bottle of wine here for whoever has the most, whoever has the largest hole in their sock." Bing, 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 all the way up and down the plane. She goes through the airplane with a ruler and measures the hole in people's socks. Some college kids were like working hard to get that bottle by tearing a bigger hole in their sock. And then the third time, she stood up again and said, "I have a bottle of wine here for whoever can guess the number of flights Southwest Airlines flies in one day." And at that time, it was over 3,000. The hour passed before we knew it. Southwest Airlines probably spent $20 on 3 bottles of wine. And you know what? They did a common thing in an uncommon way. So I went to their website to see what in the world are their core values that would drive an employee in Dallas to offer these 3 free bottles of wine and entertain us during a time that could have created some stress for some people. And here's what I learned. First of all, their vision statement: to become the world's most loved, most flown, and most profitable airline. Their stock ticker is LOVE, L-U-V, and their core values are selfless service, friendly customer experience, safety, reliability, low cost. Crazy. They did what it took, and they showed up. So now, what do we do about it? What can you and I do about our own core values, both on the personal level and on the business level? Well, as you know by now, every one of these leadership principles is going to have a call to action. It would be useless if we talked about you knowing yourself and you don't do the Enneagram. It would be useless if we talk about your core values principle and you don't determine your core values. I just did a little bit of research on core values, and it said our core values highlight what we stand for. Values guide our behaviors, our decisions, and our actions. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to search the internet for core values. I did it on Bing and I did it on Google, and one of the top searches led to Brené Brown's Dare to Lead list of values. And it looks like this, right? Nothing too fancy. I don't know, there's maybe 150 words on here. So print 2 of those. Okay, you with me? Print 2 and then go through this list and determine which one is kind of leaning toward and which one is no way. Get it down to a list of 20 core values. Now, I want you to take the time to do this. Don't make this a throwaway exercise, because you're going to determine your future based on these pillars in terms of core values. Now you have a list of 20. So you've circled 20 that you know you're leaning toward. But now I need you to get that list down to 10. What are your 10 most important core values? And now the hard work happens. If you haven't thought it's hard yet, now you got to get that list of 10 down to 5, both on the personal side and on the business side. So now you've got your top 5 core values on the personal side of life and on the business side. Next comes our call to action. Well, you know what? The biggest problem that people have with core values is they don't do anything with them. And so I had to put my relentless shirt on so that it burns into our brains this idea is we have to do something with this. So I'm going to give you 5 ideas that you can use with your core values on the business, and I'm going to give you 3 ideas of how to use your personal core values on the personal side of life. So here's some ideas I think you can use right away. Number 1, imagine if your 5 core values are printed at the bottom of every one of your company agendas. Then anytime we're having any conversation that's going down a rabbit hole, we can bring it back by reflecting on what are our core values in our organization. Number 2, imagine if you have a meeting coming up that's a retreat or an overnighter. Your 5 core values can be the filter that everything has to go through to determine should this make the agenda or not? Does it fit who we are as an organization? Number 3, performance reviews. Should you look at your employees and how they're performing against these 5 core values? Number 5, conflict resolution. I just had a CEO coaching client who's having some issues with one of his direct reports, and it was a performance issue. I said, well, show me your core values. And he said, well, we don't really have any. I said, well, if your values are clear, then decisions are easy. And so quickly, within the next 7 days, we created core values that he's now communicating broadly throughout his organization. What about the idea of asking yourself the question, am I modeling these behaviors? And if you really want to be gutsy, go to some key thought leaders within your organization and ask them, hey, I want to be vulnerable. Do you see me living these values? And I want you to be completely honest. There's a gutsy way to go. All right, 3 ideas on the personal side. It's Friday, right? This is being released on a Friday, so I intentionally did that because the weekend is coming up. Do you have plans as a family unit or as a relationship or partnership that you have that your weekend activities will reflect what's on your core values? And let's take that even broader. What about a family vacation? As you think about an upcoming family vacation, are you relentless at embedding those kinds of things? So, for example, if on my family values I had adventure and generosity, if we're going to travel to Guatemala, which we did, could we build homes for Habitat for Humanity, which is the adventure part, and the generosity part, and we're combining 2 core values in one vacation idea. And then lastly, print your family values and have them in and around your home. Why core values? Because you can't be what you can't see. See you next time.